Some extra lights set up over here so we can actually see what we're doing. We've got our nameplate all machined on one surface. We've got it painted up with our blue stuff, and we're ready to go on the layout table, getting this stuff really set up with the vernier height gauge. The first thing we have to consider is the fact that if we set our part like this, we can really easily mess ourselves up. We really need to take note of what surface is where. Basically, if we look at our part, we can see a machined surface here and a factory edge here. This corner is our datum, and we're going to mark that so we never forget. So I'll come in here with black Sharpie and just mark out my corner, telling me, hey, this is the datum. Okay? So now that black corner needs to always be against the surface. If for any reason we get ourselves like this, we know something is wrong. Or like this, something is wrong. So that's the position we'll be marking in, and that's the position we'll be marking in. No others. In fact, if you want, you can even take some of this thin black tape and lay it out on that edge. And that'll remind you, hey, if the tape is touching the table, something is wrong. Okay? So, now we actually need to get in the meat and potatoes of this and really figure out how this guy works, because, oh man, is it confusing. Right up here, there's the zero line. The zero line is going to tell us most of what we need to know. Okay, so I'm going to start off by setting this to 1 inch. 1 inch is going to be pretty easy. I pull the big black levers up here, squeeze those, pull down. Okay, when those are pulled in, I can move this up and down infinitely. But as soon as I let go, it's going to lock into a position. So now it's locked into a position. Sometimes if you turn it, you'll see there it really clicked and locked in. So now I'm going to come right in. I'm going to get my zero lined right up to the 1. And when we mean lined up, we really have to be lined up on this machine. It's not going to lock into a position, so you really have to use your eyesight to make sure those are truly lined up. Once they're truly lined up, we can actually go and make a scratch on our part. So we're looking over here. I've got my piece set up against this 90-degree block on the surface plate. And now, when we do this, we always hold our part still and we move the height gauge. So I'm up against that. I'm just going to come in. And I'm going to make my mark. And there we go. You can see the datum against the table. That's the key part. So now I've made a mark 1 up. The first point I have to plot on this is 1 inch up and 5/8 of an inch in. So I'm going to go and plot that out now. 5/8. 5/8 isn't going to show up here super easily. And actually, 5/8 isn't really what it was. I made it up just on the fly. I'm not doing this as per my name right now. So I'm going to do a C on here. We're going to go up 0.7. The reason I don't want to do 5/8 is because you guys did yours in tenths of an inch, so it's even easier. You don't have to deal with all the complexities of this. So if I have to go up 0.7, I'm just going to get close. I'm going to turn that knob until the 0 lines up with the 7. And there we are. Now I can come in, I can make my next scratch. I'm going to rotate the part, because again, we're pulling out that X and Y to really lay our position out. Now I'm going to come in, and I'm going to scratch. And there you can see there's our first position established. Okay. Now for my C on this, because my name is Colin, so I'm going to do CN, Colin Nobles. I'm going to lay that out right now. So I was just at 0.7, so I'm going to go up to 0.9 for my next position. Again, grab these black wings, squeeze in, and lift up, and you can come up and get close and use the knob to get all the way there. A little over. You gotta get dead nuts. There it is. Okay, so now I'm gonna come in. Ooh. And I'm gonna come in and lay that out. Okay. Oh, there's my mistake. You see that? Now, this line should be in this direction. Okay? So make yourself aware of that. Remember, if we're looking at this part, X is going to run this way, Y is going to run this way. So you got to remember what you're doing. In this case, I was trying to lay out that C, so I'm trying to work vertically right along that line. So I'm going to come back in here. I'm going to do that correctly. Come in here. Now I'm at 0.9. There's my mark. If you get lines on here that you don't need, take a Sharpie, come in and just cross them out with the Sharpie. That way you won't get confused later on in the process. So there it is. We've laid out 2 points, 2 holes that need to be drilled on this. You guys have a whole bunch to drill. But pretty straightforward. Our hole positions were, if we look at this, our first hole was X 0.7, Y 1 inch. Our second hole was X 0.9, Y 1 inch. Okay, so this isn't as complicated as you think. One line is going to get a lot of stuff solved. There's no reason to come in and scratch that 1 inch line over and over and over and over. Do it once, come back and lay out the crossing coordinates to that. Secondly, if this guy starts to move, it doesn't feel like it's sliding you very easily, you can tip it back over very gently, and just run your fingers underneath here to clean up any debris, any stuff that's stuck on there. When you're all done, take our scratching tool off, take this whole guy, you want to pull this up to about the 6 inch mark, and set him in his home gently. Make sure your accoutrements here get in the box. Close her up. And lock her. This way anybody that comes in the shop and rooting around through stuff, some miserable 8th grader doesn't get in there and mess our stuff all up. Thank you, good luck, and get to marking.